We're here with the Future Laureates, a local Chicago band who are just about to put out a new album called Fortress Sessions. You guys have been together for a little while, more than a little while. Can you tell us how you guys all came together?
Sure. Well, we all met. We're all students at Loyola University here in Chicago. Matthew and I lived on the same floor. I met Danny at orientation. We started playing music together the first time in the fall of 2006. And then we went abroad for a while, and then we came back together our last semester, spring of 2008, and that's when the Future Laureates proper was the genesis, if you will. So we've been playing ever since then, all around Chicago, other places.
Yeah, we did our first show, and it just was more just kind of like trying it out. We actually, the first rehearsal we had, we wrote a song together, and then I studied in Chile for a semester, and then when I got back, James was in Costa Rica, and Matthew was in New Zealand. So there was a year between our first show and our second show together, but we stayed in touch, via Facebook and everything. And basically, we got back in school our senior year, and we recorded 3 songs in Dayton, Ohio, in January of our senior year, and then we recorded 9 songs in Nashville in March over our spring break, and we released our first CD in May. Yeah, that was 08. That was 08.
Yeah, and I was telling you beforehand, I was listening to that first CD, Your Mom Will Like Us, earlier today.
Lucky you.
And one thing I noticed about the songs themselves were, it didn't feel like somebody sat down and was like, I'm going to write a song about whatever today. It felt more like you guys were conversationally kind of working through the songs as opposed to going off on your own and doing it. Do you guys write all your songs together, or do you write them all separate?
I think we have different stages of writing. So we do have a stage where we write together, and that's when we're doing a lot of our arrangements, especially with this new record. We're very intentional about arranging the songs to each other's strengths. So, an example, on that first record, on Your Mom Would Like Us, whoever wrote the song, there was a primary songwriter for each song. That person sang the song. And that's how we started out. With this new record, technically I wrote 11 of the 12, and James wrote 1 as well, but Matthew is singing lead on 11 of the 12. And that's an arrangement decision. So, while James or I, for this record, started out writing the songs and the lyrics and the music, actually how they take shape with the full band is much different. And that's very collaborative, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, when you guys were at the Chicago Roots Collector Showcase, you had 2 extra members playing electric guitar and drums. Do you guys feel more comfortable as a band playing with just the 3 of you? And you just bring them in when you need the extra help?
I would say we feel more comfortable probably as a 5-piece.
Yeah.
A lot of our songs are sort of geared towards that sort of like upbeat, poppy exuberance, if you will.
Rock.
That doesn't really come across as much. And like, we like doing like stripped down like acoustic sets too. But it's just not. It's not our normal setup. Our normal setup is like a bigger full sound.
In terms of like how we operate, like in how booking shows and like actually all the business decisions, it's the 3 of us, and that's actually, it makes the process much more expedient. We actually accomplish a lot because there's a lot less hands in the pot, and people trying to object to things. So we're very efficient, the 3 of us, in terms of the business, but in terms of the sound, we definitely prefer a 5-piece. And Aaron and Joe, who played at that show with us, have been our drummer and our lead guitarist since October of last year. And Aaron a little bit earlier, since June. So, for all practical purposes, they're in the band, So I don't think, they definitely contribute quite a bit musically and kind of help define the Future Laureates sound, I'd say.
Absolutely. And Matthew, you were just saying about the sound's exuberance. Outside, Danny and I were talking about how you don't try to come off as cool.
Yeah. Oh, we can't. We're not really that cool.
We're not at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, it'd be awesome if we were, but I don't know. I just don't really think that's our thing. So might as well go with it. You know,
and there's no point trying to pretend to
Yeah.
be something we're not, especially if that thing is cool, because when you pretend to be cool, you're definitely not cool.
yeah, it's true. And you know, there's something to be said for doing what you do, and people will accept it. And there's a certain amount of charisma with being on stage and being confident about it. So if we go out there and do our thing and people like it, then that's pretty cool, I guess. But we're not like cool enough to wear like sunglasses inside, or well, James does for sure. But we're not cool enough to say like have long hair or like I don't know, wear a leather jacket. We're not really that cool for that kind of stuff. The regular band cool stuff.
Or talking about like the Fonz?
Basically, yeah. He's pretty cool.
We can't start a jukebox by hitting it.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, someday.
But I think we have a lot of fun on stage, and everyone can see that, and we try to get everyone else into it and having fun too. So that's an important part of our life.
Yeah, you guys are definitely sincere about how you play and the music that you write.
Yeah, we're also intentional about the music we play and the music we write. I think that's important too. I don't think we're just looking to have fun and kind of and we're careless. I think we take the time to. We actually really care very much about the music and making it as good as possible. But our live show is
May not always seem like it. Trust us.
But yeah, I think in terms of how we present ourselves on stage, I mean, we want to have a high energy show. That's something we found that works well for us. That kind of like almost like punk rock energy to our live performance, but the music is very pop. Pop, rock, and folk are the three home bases of the music. So it's kind of an interesting mix. I mean, I think probably bands that we aspire to sound like live would be like the David Brothers, Mumford and Sons.
Yeah, sort of the same idea. Some excitement.
Some of that, like, really high energy, high octane performance.
And you guys right now are finishing up the mastering process on the Fortress sessions.
We are, indeed.
And for people who don't record music or have their music recorded, the mastering process can take a while. Does that get to you guys? You want it to come out, obviously. You want it
right
as soon as you can.
Yeah.
But are you worried about getting it perfect before you get it out?
No, I'm not, because I have a lot of faith in the producer who's mastering it. I think when you trust the personnel you're working with, I think it takes away some of the uncertainty. I mean, yeah, there is always the possibility that it won't be ready or it won't be perfect, but I think when I look at like the way we write songs and the way our music is, and I think I would apply it to the recording process too, it's not about being perfect. It's not about being completely pristine. I think you're just trying to grow and reach it. Like reach your potential as much as possible for wherever those songs are at that point, and I think recording is, it fits into that same mentality. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's like a balance between, I think, between having a song be as good as it can be, and balancing that with like losing your mind over like trivial minutia, like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically the stuff we're talking about now in the mixing and mastering stage predominantly is stuff that no one's gonna know or hear, but like will bother us every time you hear it, So like, oh well, that one bass note came in on this beat or not this beat, like they're never gonna know, But for us, I feel like it's better if it's in this one spot or that spot. So yeah, it's sort of like straddling that line, I think, and it's got
looking at the big picture.
Yeah, and also it has to be ready by a certain time because we already have a release party set up, so. Basically, it has a deadline. At this point, it will be done. It'll have to,
We'll be handing out empty CD cases.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, we've listened to rough mixes even up until now, and I mean, they're not where they need to be, but they're close. So we've heard enough of the mixes up until this point where we can kind of make we have a feeling of confidence in where they're going, basically.
Right.
And Matt, you didn't write any of the songs, but you sing all of them.
Just about, yeah.
Do you feel like you need to live up to the song when you're singing it, or do you just do what you think you need to do and go with that?
Huh. Yeah, I guess I'm really selfish. Never really thought about it that way. I just live up to it. Yeah, I mean, Danny's a really good songwriter, so we've been working more towards writing a melody part that I can work with, and that is sort of exemplifies sort of like what I do best or whatever. You know what I mean? So if we wrote this part a certain way, but like, hey, maybe you can hold this note out a little longer and see what it sounds like and try that. And so, and that process has sort of worked really well, I think, in the CD. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like, I feel like I guess with the latter, you just sort of do what you do, and then.
Well, it's kind of arranging to people's strengths.
Yeah.
You know, that's an arrangement decision, and like Matthew's voice can do so much. He's so versatile with how he sings. So when we're singing a 3-part harmony in our shows, he sings the lowest note and he also sings the highest note at our stage.
Not at the same time.
Right.
Well, yeah.
I'm not a teeth and throat singer, but
But I mean, to have that versatility in his voice is something that I can't do with my voice. So it is very collaborative when we're writing melodies for him, and that's an example. You know, we'll change the key. When I write it, I'll write it in a certain key for my voice, but you know, we'll maybe move it a half step one way or another because he can do so much more with it, sustain notes differently. So yeah, I mean, I think it's more collaborative. I think, and I think when we're writing melodies for you, you take a lot of ownership of that. You know, I'll have an idea and I'll say like, you know, this is what I'm hearing it, but I'm writing for my voice. So
in most
writing
cases,
for your voice, it's different.
In most cases, like the standard melody line is there, and then what we do with it is we sort of mold it into how we think it should sound for the song.
And it's a give and take, you know, because I'll be pretty particular about certain lyrics and also phrasing. But, you know, Matthew it's like, you know, he'll challenge things and he'll say, you know, well, what if we do this or what if we do that? And, you know, maybe the first 7 times I say no, but finally the 8th time I'm like, okay, I see what you're going for.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we work back and forth.
And having James there is helpful for that too.
Yeah.
And because he's there for most of that situation too. So, hey, what if you sing it? There's a lot of interesting conversations about like a different preposition in a line. Like, why does it need to be this preposition? Why can it not be that one? Or why can't it have to be the instead of Like, why does that matter? So there's a lot of those conversations too that sort of come up.
And James is a great copy editor.
I try.
Especially with lyrics, you know, he's very good at trimming the fat, you know, and say, well, you don't need this.
Less is more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're trying to ride the line between like what you mean to say and how you mean to say it, and how physically is that like sound. Like, spit out a bunch of lyrics or you know, so.
I also like, at least in the record that I've heard and what I've heard from the new album, Lovely, which you were kind enough to record for us, you don't really parse words. Like, there's not a ton of extra material in there. A lot of bands like to use metaphors and symbols and things, but you guys, it generally is pretty straight and to the point. Do you guys feel like when you're writing from the heart, you don't really need that extra stuff in there, you just need to say what you want to say?
No, I don't feel like that. I feel like it takes a lot of revision. It's a craft to get to that point. So the starting place when I write my lyrics is very much like what you just said initially. You know, it's very wordy. There's phrasing things that don't match up. There's, it's a work in progress. And I think when we bring it to all 3 of us, one of the things we did differently with this record is every single song that we brought to the table for consideration to record, we read the lyrics, all 3 of us, and we said, and you know, most of them were my lyrics, and I said, do you know what I'm trying to say? You know, and if they didn't know, well, then that had to be clarified. And then also, like, is this how we want to say it? You know, that was another conversation we had about the lyrics. And song by song, we did that. And so we would make changes to things. And I think what you hear in the final product is the result of multiple sessions of revisions and reworking it.
Yeah, and too, it's not always, we're pretty intentional about lyrics. Danny is pretty intentional about lyrics, and so I know is James. I was less so on songs I've written, actually. But I guess, anyway, the point is, it's not even just the lyrics, it's sort of even, like to Danny's point about like, do you guys get what we're trying to say here? Like in this part, it's oftentimes it's like not even it's not a simile or a metaphor. It's not that. It's like a feel. Like these lyrics feel right, or does this feel silly? Like does saying he like a line like for a while we had a song in the line that says he needs to be punched in the face, which eventually we're like this is just too silly. It doesn't feel right. So it's changed to he needs to be put in his place, which is a lot more like it's a lot easier to swallow and like as you're listening to a song, it doesn't like stick out to you, you know. So neither was wrong, but it's like sort of like the right feel, you know, or you know, my friend the guarded wall. Like, what does that mean? My friend the guarded wall. How does it make you feel more than what is the actual
and
meaning of it?
The original, like that's a song of the record. It's called "My Friend the Guarded Wall," and it was originally
not garden,
not garden.
Guarded.
People are always going to think it's garden. The producer that we worked with thought that every single time. But the original words were "My Friend the Berlin Wall," you know, and then the conversation was, okay, well, what does the Berlin Wall stir up in you? And there's all this political context that has nothing to do with the song, so, you know, that's not the word we're going to use, you know. And that was for, you know, a year when I had wrote that before we actually played it as a band. You know, and it's a song that's been just kind of sitting, waiting to be reworked. I mean, that's how it was written. So I think that's an example of a change where, you know, we made the assessment and we changed it.
And
hopefully for the better, you know.
Hopefully. You guys, the new album is Fortress Sessions. You're doing a release show on May 12th.
Yes. Saturday.
It's a Saturday. And which venue?
Subterranean.
At the Subterranean. And the album, is that the official release date? Or will people be able to hear it before then?
You'll be able to hear some songs before then, hopefully. We're still kind of reworking our website right now, and
we played some of the songs live too.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, some of the songs, to be honest, we've been playing for a couple of years live. Some of the songs are brand new, so it's a range of songs. But yeah, you'll definitely be able to my hope is that you'll be able to hear at least a select few of them on our website before the show. But actually, to be able to purchase the music, it won't be until the day of the show.
Okay, great. Well, we'll definitely look forward to that. I know I look forward to getting my copy.
Right, thank you.
Cool.
Wink. And thanks so much for joining us in my apartment. And
Thanks for having us.
I'm sorry I didn't offer you anything to eat or drink.
Well, that's okay. There's still time.
We can go to Taco Bell.
Okay.
Nice.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.